our original plan was to drive to Utah and paddle Labyrinth Canyon for 4 days. It's going to be great. The weather forecast was not great and just enough on the edge that we decided not to do that. So we came out here to Arizona. So far it's been good. We came out. It's been a little rainy, but it's not been too bad. Paddled yesterday all afternoon. It was fantastic. And today we were going to go to Apache Lake and do a little paddle camping at Apache Lake. Since originally we were going to go to Roosevelt Lake, well, not originally, but previously we were going to go to Roosevelt Lake.
First plan in Arizona.
Yes.
Roosevelt Lake.
Right. And then we were told by some locals that, hey, Roosevelt Lake kind of sucks. It's quite barren.
Not great for what we want.
Yeah, quite barren and desolate, and due to its location, it tends to get a lot of downdraft winds that can make things complicated. So we were told to go to Apache Lake. Okay, great, Apache Lake. It's a 2-hour drive from our Airbnb. And we started this morning. Got up here to Tortilla Flat, Arizona. And as we pull out of the parking lot and continue down the road, we see that immediately after the visitor center, the road is flooded and impassable. And just before that is a big sign that said road closed in 9 miles. We had 17 miles to go to get to Apache Lake. So that wasn't going to happen. So now...
Option number 3 in Arizona.
Is this 3 or 4? 3 in Arizona.
3 in Arizona, 4 total.
Yeah, 4 total. We're going back to Saguaro Lake, which is where we were yesterday.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. And we've identified a couple spots on the map that look like they would be fine for paddle camping. So, after all of that, we're going right back to where we were yesterday. We'll get there. It'll happen. It will happen. First of all, the boards themselves. We've got the Hydrus Paradise and the Thurso Expedition 150. They're both 12.5 feet. They're both 30 inches wide. And we chose them for their efficiency over flat water and their stability. So, we wanted something that we were going to be comfortable on, but could also make good time because this was, a flat water paddle. So starting here with the Hydrus, we have a large bag in the back here. And this has a lot of our camping supplies in it. So like moderate weight, but pretty bulky. So we put that here towards the back. Starting in the front, we have another dry bag. Coming back from there, we have a 10-liter water bag. Now we are on a lake. We can pump water if we'd like, but it's just so much easier to bring it with you. So if you have the space available, if you can bring a big bag of water, it's really helpful. And then we have a few personal items in a dry bag here and some water bottles. On the Expedition, we kind of reversed it a little bit. We put our larger bag up front. And again, that was a little bit of a shape consideration. So the back doesn't have quite as much cargo room. And so we use the larger cargo area up front for the large bag. This has our clothes and sleeping bags and that kind of stuff in it. Again, bulky, not super heavy, but just large. We've got our spare paddle up front. Again, water. This is my personal dry bag with camera equipment. And then back here, we have another dry bag with our food and our stove. So that's kind of the breakdown for how we packed. Yeah, it comes down through Roosevelt, through Canyon, or through Apache, through Canyon, through Saguaro, into Phoenix, in Canyon. Yes. Yeah. Oh, there's some pretty mountains. Thinking this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Puts us at, yeah, 3.7 miles.
Yeah, it's like right on.
All right, the campsite is set up, so now I'm gonna kind of take you through and show you what we've done here. So first, we pulled our boards up out of the water. This is super important. Water levels change whether you're on a lake or on a river, but especially on a river. In the case for us here is it's spring in the Southwest, so we can get flash floods and things like that. So you want to make sure to bring your boards up out of the water. If you can't, for whatever reason, then you want to tie them off to something so they don't go floating away and leave you high and dry. So let's go check out the rest of it. One of the first things we actually did was set up a drying line. So that's for our wet paddling clothes. Just to get them dry for tomorrow, because we're putting the same things back on. And then the next thing we set up was the tent. So this is just a 2-person backpacking tent. And inside we've got our sleeping bags. They're fluffing up, gaining their loft. And we have a big 2-person sleeping mat that barely fits inside the tent, but it's one of those nice things that if you have the space for it, it's so much more comfortable than the individual single mats. So keep that zipped up to keep the bugs out. Now this next thing I wanted to show you here is a tarp shelter that we set up using our paddles. This is a really good thing to practice and know how to do. If it were to be really rainy or something, we could actually take this tarp and set it up over the front of the tent and extend our vestibule and really give us a more comfortable living space. We can, in this case, we're using it kind of as a gear garage, a gear shelter, just to kind of give us a covered space for all of our dry bags and everything. In here, we do have our dry bags that held all of our gear. So this is the Sea to Summit Big River 75. This was great. This held most of our sleeping bags and other sleeping gear. And then we have our Sea to Summit hydraulic bag as a 65 liter, excuse me. Both of these bags did a fantastic job. They're made of a different material, but they're both great backpack style dry bags you can use. We still have our food and kitchen bag here that we haven't even cracked open yet. Camera bag, personal items, and then our toilet system. I'll do a separate video on that. And then over here we have our fire pan. And this is from a pop-up pit, and we actually brought along a 3-hour fire log with us, so we'll have that going this evening after the sun goes down and it starts to get a little chilly. Where?
Soon it will smell like an alpine forest in the Saguaro Lake region of Arizona.
Would you care to walk us through our 3-course meal for tonight?
What's the fancy word that we recently learned?
Amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche of this evening is almond bar, biscuit, a biscuit with almond butter, and some red wine.
Is it truly an amuse-bouche though, since
No,
it's not a
it's
bite?
Not one bite, but it's mouth happy. Makes your mouth happy, I guess. Second course main is a twofer. We're gonna have some mole sauce with chicken and rice. And
I like how it's mole sauce with chicken and rice, not chicken and rice with mole sauce.
Yeah, grass-fed beef shepherd's pie. Thank you, Heather's Choice. And for our third course...
More wine.
Oh, and more wine. Pan over to all the wine. And the dark chocolate that we will have for dessert. As well as some hot cocoa and or sleepy time tea.
Wonderful.
Okay.
This is a pop quiz.
Okay.
What is the one tool that every backpacker, camper, paddle camper, whatever, should have to make meals the best?
The spork log?
The spork long. You want to espouse on the benefits of the spork long?
Well, when you don't have a nice bowl, like the Sea to Summit bowl, then the spork long does a really good job of getting in to the bag without getting your hand dirty.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a spoon and a fork, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's got a nice shape to it. It's not like some sporks that are a little more flat. Not as ladly.
It's scoopable.
Scoopable.
Yeah.
Spork long.
Well, you can see we've already taken the campsite down. It is almost 10 in the morning. Wow, we're a little behind, but that's okay. And so now I'm going to pack up all the bags. There's a couple things I wanted to touch on, showed you, but didn't really explain. So the first is this tube. This tube contains our toilet system. So in the backcountry, it is ideal to pack everything in, pack everything out, and that includes your own waste. And this tube, it's not as bad as it looks, is a watertight container that holds what are called our WAG bags. And WAG bags is a kind of generic term. There's a bunch of brand names. But basically they're sealable bags, and inside there's a powdered desiccant and disinfectant that you would go to the bathroom in, and then put all of your waste in there, seal it up, and then you can just unscrew this lid, put it in the tube, screw the lid back on, and now it's watertight, and you can take that with you and not worry about that getting punctured or leaking or anything. So it's actually a pretty convenient way to carry all of that stuff. The other thing was a grain bag, which, get over here, which you probably saw in the video from last night a little bit, but it was empty. So this is a grain bag from a brewery. They are waterproof but not watertight, but we use this for trash. And so we put some of our trash in here. We put the ashes from our campfire in here. And then we actually went around this morning and picked up the vast majority of this volume of trash. This campsite, it's a beautiful campsite, but unfortunately people have just been leaving lots and lots of garbage. And unfortunately there's still a lot of garbage. But did the best we could with the time and resources we had. We'll take this back and throw it in the dumpster. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is start packing everything up. I'm going to start with this dry bag here. So this is the Sea to Summit hydraulic 65 liter. This one is made from a rubberized, I believe it's TPU material, not a PVC. And so it's a nice thick rubberized material that is kind of their top of the line ruggedness. So on their scale of ruggedness to lightweight, the hydraulic series is leaning, it's heavier, but it's more rugged, more durable. And so in here, we have a couple little things already. We've got first aid kit and repair kit for the paddle boards. And we have some spare fins and a water filter. We're going to go ahead and put those back in. All right, so now this is where packing becomes the art rather than the science, especially because I can't exactly remember how we packed it on the way here, but that's really not important. The important thing is we get all the stuff that we need in the bag. So in this bag, I'm going to start with the tent and the poles, which are a little bit out of reach. Get those handed in off camera. Thank you. So we just have the poles from the tent and the tent itself in here now. Okay. We've got a pair of shoes here. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. This is kind of an odds and ends bag is the way I'm kind of packing it. Okay. Yeah, we'll hold off on that one actually. Let's see, it's coming back to me how I packed it before. This is a bag of clothes. So this is what I was wearing and slept in last night. So we'll get that in here. And you want to try and get things packed in pretty densely at the bottom because you need space at the top to be able to close the bag. I'll show that here in just a minute. So we've got a couple of jackets we're going to put in here. Those were very handy last night. Got a little bit colder than anticipated. Oh, a little bit of trash from our kit. Okay. And then I believe the last thing I'm actually going to put in here, doing pretty well so far, is our toiletries kit. And, I think I can actually even get this bag of clothes, this other bag of clothes here. Maybe, we'll see. That one's going to be tight. So, I don't think that's actually going to fit. And the reason why is because of the way these dry bags close. If you're not familiar with dry bags, the material's waterproof, but you still have to have a waterproof seal. The way you do that is you fold the top over a minimum of 3 times, 4 if you can, and then it clips together. And that's about as perfect as that gets. Now, it's a 65-liter bag. I don't have, especially not with me, a way to necessarily measure this particular volume. I have a feeling that 65 liters is the total bag volume, not necessarily the closed bag volume, because to me this looks a lot more like a 40-liter backpack. So always keep that in mind when you're trying to pack for paddle camping. All right, so we're going to set this bag to the side. And we're going to get this one out next. So this is another Sea to Summit bag. This is a 75-liter. This is the big river bag. So this one kind of falls in the middle of the spectrum between durability and weight. This is a TPU-coated nylon material, so it feels more like a fabric, more like a raincoat almost. Works basically the same. Still totally waterproof. It's just a little bit, this is a bag that I would have no hesitation at all taking on a heavy whitewater rafting trip where I know it's going to be just soaked the whole time. This is a bag that I have no hesitation taking on a flat water or even a mild whitewater trip where I know it's going to be wet all the time, but not necessarily constantly getting submerged with large quantities of water. So we're going to go ahead and start with some of our sleeping gear. So we're going to take this is our sleeping pad. This is a double wide sleeping pad. It's the first time we've actually used this camping, and I'd say it's a game changer. It is definitely way more comfortable to have a super wide pad that we can share rather than each trying to lay on our own like 22-inch wide pads. So this is like 1/4 of the width that really fills the entire tent. Quite nice. I like that quite a bit. And again, we want to try and fill the bag as much as possible. as densely as possible at the bottom. Now next here, this is a K-Pump Mini. This is our emergency pump in case we needed to inflate the paddleboard. It also did a great job inflating that mattress. So we'll put that in. Take this clothes bag, and we have a sleeping bag, and these bags are all in compression sacks. These are not waterproof. They're lightly water resistant, but they're definitely not waterproof. But the most important thing is they do compress. You can use these straps. But having packed this bag before, I actually know that it's better to keep them skinnier and longer rather than try to make them fatter and rounder. So there was one that was actually our sleeping quilt that we spread out as a blanket quite comfortably. This is a sleeping bag. And another sleeping bag. You can see that there was that bend there in the middle of the bag, so I'm just kind of pressing everything down in here. Okay, last couple of items here. This was the tarp that we used for our little gear garage. This was like a 5x7 tarp. I'd actually recommend a little bit bigger, especially if you are wanting to use it as like a rain shelter or something. It's just, it was just enough for our equipment, but a 10x12 would give you a lot more room, a lot more options. So we're just going to set that right in there. As I'm looking around, that's everything that needs to go in this bag. So again, we're going to push it down, get the air out, fold it at least 3 times at the top. Now what I really like about this bag, and I wish the hydraulic had, is that you can clasp it up here at top, but you can also do it down here on the side, and I actually prefer this. I'm not sure why I prefer this. I can't really put a exact wording to it, but I feel like I get more room out of the bag with the side clasps. I also feel like it makes it a little bit easier to strap them down because you can put a strap through here to kind of help keep it in place. This actually has a nice little daisy chain system, so it doesn't really matter. Both of these bags also have a backpack harness. The Big River bag has kind of a lightweight, and it's fixed in place. You can't really take it off. It's all sewn in. The hydraulic bag has all of these tabs on here, and it's actually a more robust backpack system, and you can fully remove it, and you can even adjust the torso length, which is something that I'm pretty sure this is the only dry bag in the world that lets you adjust the torso length of the backpack system. And we took that off just for simplicity's sake. We didn't need that for this trip, but it is a really nice system. So this is also great for if you're going to go like canyoneering, if you're at like Zion National Park and you want to go hike the Narrows. This is a perfect bag. This bag would work too, but this one would be definitely my choice for that. So there we go. Those are our 2 biggest bags. A couple other little things here. So I do have this bag here. This is from a company called Watershed. This is their Fuda dry bag. Watershed is known for their zipper closures. So instead of having to roll the bag top down, it's actually just an oversized zipper that you clip together. And then that is more than enough to keep the bag watertight. These things are extremely strong, extremely durable. And they have a big following in whitewater. These are actually designed to fit in the front of a kayak, but they also work perfectly on the nose of the paddleboard. So into this bag, we're going to put our poop tube and our pop-up campfire ring. So we saw this in use last night. This is from Pop-Up Pit. It's a 24-inch campfire ring. It's super convenient, and it helped us, just keep all of our fire waste together. We were able to just pick the screen up this morning and dump the ashes into the trash bag. So we'll put that in here. Being a little bit careful because that does have sharp edges that we're wanting to make sure that we don't puncture anything with. And then I feel like we had something else. Originally in this bag, we had the malt bag, the grain bag, and a 3-hour fire log, which is actually what we used for our campfire last night. Instead of gathering firewood, we were at Home Depot and got a box of the 3-hour fire logs. It was like $20 or something, and that thing worked well. And I honestly think if we had let it go, it probably would have lasted closer to 4.5 hours. It kept going, so it was very impressive. So this will actually be pretty small. We might throw a couple other little odds and ends here, but the last things we have left are our water bag. And, oh, that's a loud boat, so hopefully you can hear me. Another Sea to Summit product, this is the Water Cell X. This is a 10-liter water bag. Yes, we could pump water from the lake. We do have our water pump with us, but it's so much more convenient just to have that water available. You can hang it from a tree, which is what we did. And then it has a nozzle here that has a lock and a cap. So you can just leave it hanging. It's not going to leak, and you can just easily get water out of it when you need it. We've already refilled our water bottles again, and there's still 2.5 liters of water in there pretty easily. So for that, we're going to leave that out. We're not going to put that in here, but I think that's pretty much everything. So the next thing we're going to do is strap it all down to the boards. Oh, do have one more bag here. It's already packed though. This is a dry bag from Sea Gods, and this has all of our food and kitchen stuff in it. So we have our Sea to Summit cook kit. This has our utensils and cloth, our washcloths and things like that. Our X set, which is our folding plates and bowls and cups. And then our X pot cook kit, which has a pan, a pot, and a kettle. And this trip around we were using mostly backpacking meals, so we just made extensive use of that kettle, and it did a fantastic job. Again, these are all collapsible. Did a fantastic job of heating the water quickly, keeping it warm, and again, it packs down so small. This is the smallest and largest backpacking cook kit I've ever had. I've been backpacking since I was 11, so this is great. I love this. And then of course our stove. Just have a backpacking stove and our fuel in there. So we'll throw all that in. This dry bag, again, this is from Sea Gods, has a roll top closure. So at least 3 times. This one again has the side straps, which I really like. Although when it is really loose like this, when it's small, I'm noticing now it really loosens this up. So I'm going to undo that. And I'm going to do it this way. Now it's nice and tight. That's not going to unroll. This also has a purge valve, so you can actually open this up, squeeze the air out, and close it down. You really just want to make sure that is closed down. And then a water-resistant zipper pocket on the front. Not waterproof, but water-resistant. And a little backpack harness. So there we go. That's pretty much everything. Our throw rope that we used is a laundry line, but you can also use to tie your boats up. Go ahead and chuck that in here. And then our mats, I'm kneeling on one right now. We'll just put that underneath the bags. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching me pack up all of our camping stuff. One last look at our campsite before we shove off significantly later than planned, but that's okay. It's 10:30, it's fine. Well, I'm a little wet.
Yeah.
I tried to surf a boat wake, which was a dumb idea. I didn't square up to it all the way. And then I made the big mistake of looking down as I was trying to brace myself back up. So, a little wet. Everything's still attached. Like a good photographer, my first inkling was make sure the camera stays up. It did, although I don't think it recorded anything. And then, yeah, it was pretty good. My bags shifted around quite a bit. This last strap on the bottom here is not quite the bag is not quite between the D-rings enough, so it kind of slipped out. My camera bag actually slipped out the most, but it was still attached, so it was fine. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, it's cold. That's why we wear immersion gear even on a beautiful day, because it is still chilly water. I don't know, probably low 50s for the water temp, and it's only like 60 for the air. So it's my legs are actually like kind of pinpricky. So I'm gonna put this down and I'm gonna paddle and warm up a little bit. Oh, we're in the narrow bit of the canyon now, and the wind has picked up, so this is exciting. What are your thoughts on wind, Shareya? It's fine. You heard it here, folks. It's fine. Howdy. Yay!